Listen to part of a discussion in a literature class.
Today, we're continuing our discussion of Gulliver's Travels by Jonathan Swift. We left off last session at the point where Gulliver began his fourth voyage as the captain of a merchant ship. As you'll recall, his crew had confined him and cast him ashore on an island. While making his way along a road, he was attacked by a herd of deformed beasts with brown skin and no tails. But suddenly, the attack was interrupted by the appearance of a beautiful horse. And this is where we left off. So what happens next?
Well, another horse comes along, and they appear to be having a conversation. The two horses, I mean. And they keep using the words Yahoo and Houyhnhnm. So Gulliver is able to understand that Yahoo refers to the animals that attacked him, and Houyhnhnm refers to the horses. Then Gulliver goes home with the horses.
And what is Gulliver thinking about while he's observing the Yahoos and the Houyhnhnms?
Oh, this was good. He starts to understand that the only difference between himself and the Yahoos is his clothing. But he's horrified by this. So we see him trying to be more like the horses.
How do you know that he's striving to emulate the Houyhnhnms?
Well, he learns their language so he can communicate with them.
Right. So this brings us to the most important part of the narrative, the comparison between the Yahoos and the Houyhnhnms. First, tell us how the Yahoos are portrayed. What do they eat? How do they look?
Well, I think the author used the word depraved several times. They eat dog and donkey meat and even garbage, and they drink too much. And he says they're filthy and they stink.
So their behavior, the Yahoos' behavior, is neither rational nor moral. Now, take a look at the description of the Yahoos that Gulliver has known in England. Let me refer to the book here. Okay, Gulliver explains that Yahoos in England fight wars for religious reasons, that lawyers use reason to argue for the wrong side, that the wealthy live to acquire more luxuries, and that greed makes them ill. By this we assume that he's referring to the rich gourmet diet that causes gout and other health problems among the upper classes. So this is in contrast with the Houyhnhnms, right? How so?
Yes.
Well, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say that they eat oats, bread, and honey, but not meat, not other animals, and they don't drink.
I think it's important that they don't even understand the concept of a lie. That proves that they have a very innocent nature.
Good point. You're referring to the fact that they failed to grasp how the crew was able to initiate the mutiny that brought Gulliver to their island.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what do the Houyhnhnms think about Gulliver? And what does Gulliver conclude about himself?
Well, Gulliver isn't really a Yahoo, and he isn't really a Houyhnhnm either. I'd say he's kind of in the middle, but he's trying to become a Houyhnhnm. When he goes back to England, he's actually afraid of other humans. I mean, Yahoos.
But he can't quite achieve his transformation, can he? Even though his pride motivates him to continue the impossible pursuit of perfection. So what does this all mean?
I think it's like the other chapters. The fourth voyage it's another critique of the weaknesses in human nature.
Then Swift's making the point that although humankind is capable of rational behavior, we seldom choose to exercise it. The very meaning of the word Yahoo in the Houyhnhnm language is evil. So Swift's very satirical then. And when we consider the time period for the book, the early 1700s, we must appreciate the exceptional departure from the literature of the era, which was mostly written to flatter or entertain. Swift used satire to provide the reader with a perspective that's very different from that of other writers in an age of science and reason.